I'm Davy, and I'm awesome. And welcome to Davy's Awesome Stories, where I tell funny stories from my past or go on a rant in an effort to make you laugh. So I've told stories about my dad in the past and how he's kind of crazy, but not in that, oh, he's just so crazy kind of a way. More like in that judge sentencing him to therapy kind of a way. And he's pretty much always been like this. So imagine being a teen or preteen boy, getting interested in girls, but also, keep in mind, this preteen, teenage boy is very introverted, ridiculously socially awkward, and also really just doesn't have that much confidence. Which I know is what everybody's like, oh, that's what girls want, it's confidence, so if you don't have it, just fake it. I hate to break it to you, all of those who say that's so easy, saying that you just fake it. No, you don't fake it, you have it. Because seriously, from experience, faking confidence is worse than not having it. But now see, my dad was the opposite. My dad is not introverted. My dad is extroverted. Even though he shouldn't be. My dad was never socially awkward. Even though it would have helped if he was a little. And my dad did not lack confidence. Even though he really should have. No, my dad was extroverted. He was very outgoing. And he's definitely confident. Confident to the point of where it stops being confident and starts just being egotistical. And he never really understood why me or my brother could have such an issue talking to women. As a matter of fact, he didn't understand why we really have difficulty talking to anybody. Even though pretty much every conversation he had with us started and ended with shut up. And especially growing up, and I have his sisters and people that were around him confirming this, my dad got a lot of women. A lot. And heck, even after he grew up and he joined the Navy, got even more women. So because of this, my dad truly believed that you could just teach somebody how to be a ladies' man. My dad really believed that it was imperative that he teach his sons how to nail as many women as possible. I know, that's weird. So now I'm going to share with you some of the advice that my dad gave me around these times. Now keep in mind, I never asked him for women advice. Ever. I would just make the mistake of having a conversation with my brother or maybe like my best friend, Ken Lindsay, author of the Gavin English series and the River Runes, available at kenlindsaybooks.com. Or someone like that, where he could hear and he would promptly come over and invite himself into the conversation. Hey, Davy, you want to know how to get a girl? I'll tell you how. No thanks. Hey, need I remind you, I have been with over 1,000 women. Now here's the thing, even though I believed him back then, and he will swear to you that that is true, never once did myself or my brother have a reaction of like, 1,000 women, that's awesome. No, even back then, as horny, perverted teenagers, I think our reaction can get summed up like this.
Ew.
That's gross. But even though I don't really believe my dad was with 1,000 women, like I said, people who've known him from back then have confirmed he was with a lot of women. So being a little naive and thinking, okay, maybe he can contribute a little bit, plus the knowledge that he wasn't going to go away until he gave his lecture, I just kind of went, okay, what do you got? Take notice of her. That's it? Take notice of her? I got a crush on her. I obviously noticed she was there. No. Notice everything. I'm gonna hate myself for this, but such as notice her shoes if she changes them. Notice her hair, her makeup. Take note of everything about her. That's it? It'll let her know that you noticed it and you were paying attention. And eventually I did put this into practice. Now this story is going to be a little bit difficult to tell because, well, I've shared stories about my awkwardness with women in the past, all the way up to and including meeting my wife. But most of those stories, I was an adult by that point, early to mid, late 20s. Trust me, things weren't better when I was a teenager. So there was this one girl I liked. Her name was Sabrina. This time I'm not disguising her name. I seriously doubt she would remember me. It was a long time ago. And for weeks, I would sit there and just kind of think about what I should say, how I should approach her, what I should do, and my dad's advice had come to me. So one day I'm sitting somewhere at lunch, and she comes and sits down, and we sit there awkwardly for a few minutes before I break the silence by saying, "So, Sabrina, it's like the teenage witch, huh?" "Yeah, I guess so." "Yeah. That girl from Clarissa Explains It All is on that show. She plays her." "Yeah, I've seen it." "Yeah. I used to have quite a crush on her when she was on Clarissa Explains It All. You know." "Okay." "You definitely don't look like her, though. Because she's blonde and you're brunette. She's also, a white girl, and you're clearly a Latina." Yeah. "So, your shoes are different." "What?" "Your shoes. I noticed the other day you were wearing pink shoes, and now they're blue." "Oh, yeah. Sometimes I change them to better go with whatever outfit I'm wearing." "I've noticed that. I have noticed that. I did. Your hair's different, too." "What?" The other day, you had it up, and today it's down." "Yeah, it was hotter the other day." Yeah, it was hotter the other day. The day that you were wearing those pink shoes and, the pink shirt and whatnot." "Can I ask you a question?" Yeah, of course. Yeah, anything." "Are you stalking me?" And God knows why I responded this way, but all I could think to say was, "I don't think so." Turns out the answer is just no. So naturally nothing came of that encounter except her now going out of her way to never sit by me ever again. But here's the thing, my dad's advice didn't just pertain to women in and of themselves. No, it also extended to other things. Like a year or two later, I kind of went on a date with a girl. More we just hung out, because that was our clever way of like, "Yeah, I'm going to ask you out, but we're not going to let it be known as a date, and I can still pretend that I don't like you." And people will be convinced because they'll be like, "Hey, do you like that girl?" I'll be like, "No, I don't even like her." All right, yeah, we just hung out. I don't like her like that. But I was going to hang out with this girl, and I was going to go pick her up, and we're just going to kind of go walk around. But going to pick her up, my dad, of course, had to have some advice. "You're going to go pick up that girl today, right?" "Yeah, we're going to go hang out." "Her father might be there." "Probably. He lives there. Her mom, too." "Well, what are you going to say to him if he talks to you?" "Probably hi. And then if he says more things, I'll just kind of bounce off of what he says." "What if he asks about his daughter?" "Huh?" "If he asks her intentions, what are you going to say?" I don't know. Probably just tell her that we're just going to hang out, have fun." "No. Here's what you say." "No thanks." "Listen. I'm taking your daughter out tonight. I'm going to be respectful and gentlemanly. I will not take advantage of her. In fact, if she even tries to get into my pants, I will tell her no. Because I made a promise to her father that I wouldn't. Trust me, I met a lot of fathers at your age." "And you said that to them?" "Yes, I did. And I let them know that I would be respectful." "Even though, based on the stories you've told me from the time I was a little child, that's the last thing you did was be respectful." "They didn't need to know that." "Yeah, don't worry, I didn't take his advice on that one. This last story of bad advice, thankfully, did not involve me. This one was actually him giving advice to my brother. Now, at this point, my brother wasn't even a teenager yet. Preteen. In our school, for the first time ever, we were going to have a dance. And at the time, my brother liked this girl, and he wanted to ask her to the dance. And I know this may come as a shock to most of you who watch my channel regularly, but my brother and I growing up, we watched a little too much television.
Duh!
My brother getting ready to ask her out, bought her a necklace. But then when the day came that he was going to go to school and give her this necklace and say, hey, will you go to the dance with me? He got really, really nervous. Now let me explain something to you. You guys who've heard my stories in the past. I am very socially awkward. My brother is even more socially awkward. I had a very hard time talking to girls. My brother even more so. I am very introverted. My brother even more so. Sadly, all these things that made it hard for me to make friends and get girls, my brother had twice as bad. So that morning, he's getting ready. He's extremely nervous, so much to the point that he couldn't stop tapping his foot. His hands shook a little bit, and he was talking to me, asking, should I even do this? I don't know if I should even do this. Should I do this? Now, granted, I was a younger brother and I had no experience either, but my advice was, yeah, just do it. Just ask her if you want to go to the dance. Unfortunately, my brother was so nervous he did not make sure that while having this little conversation with me, that my dad was not around. My dad was, he heard him, and he came up and gave him the advice. Josh, you are my son. My blood. You are a Martinez. My dad could never just say our last name straight out. He always had to throw that stupid accent in there. You will naturally be able to get the girls. He had no idea how wrong he was on that one. Well, I'm not trying to get her to be my girlfriend, Dad. I just want to be friends. He was lying, but of course he was just trying to get my dad to leave him alone. Didn't work. Because my dad reached down, grabbed that necklace, and said this. So here's what you do, Josh. You walk up to her. You look her right in the eye. And you tell her, hey, only friends. Because that wouldn't be even a slight bit creepy, now would it? Now I know at this point you're probably excited for me to go act out the exchange between my brother and this girl. I can't, because it didn't happen. My brother succumbed to his nervousness and anxiety, which I can't judge him. I did that plenty of times growing up. But I will say this, for his sake, thank God he did not walk up to that girl and go, hey, only friends. You may be asking, with this advice, how did your dad get so many women? We found out later, years later, when we were adults. My dad had gone to stay with his mother after his father passed away, came back with a bunch of photo albums from when he was a kid and a teenager. And as we were looking at them, we were starting to see picture after picture after picture of my dad with some old girlfriends. Oh, let me correct that. Girlfriends. Because most of them he'd make clear they weren't his girlfriends, they were just girls he banged. My dad was such a romantic. And my brother and I kind of looked at each other like, are you seeing what I'm seeing? Oh yeah. My dad had built up his confidence because yeah, he'd been with a lot of women. But at that point, I couldn't help myself. I was like, so Dad, these are like all the women you were getting with as you were a kid? Yep, a lot of women. More than you'll ever get. No doubt, no doubt. No doubt. But, I don't get why you brag about this so much. What are you saying? Well, Dad, it seems clear why you were able to get with so many women growing up. Davy, what are you getting at? Well, Dad, it seems pretty clear that you didn't really go after what we would call high-quality women. Looking at most of these women, you can tell they were, I don't know, a simple way of saying this. Skanks! And yeah, if I had went after some more skanks as a kid, maybe I would have had better numbers too. But, thanks, but no thanks. Hey, skanks need love too. Then buy him a puppy. So there you have it. That's just a few of the stories of my dad's awful women advice. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and if you did, make sure to hit like, hit subscribe, hit that little bell so you get notifications for when I post new videos, and leave a comment. Tell me some bad advice you had gotten about girls. Love you guys.